Meditation should help us solve our problems. The yogis and spiritual masters say from their personal experience that the sole mission of human life is to discover the true self or Atman within us. Atman is the name for the divine energy or life principle within us. They maintain that the real and lasting answer to all human problems, both material and spiritual, lies in the knowledge of the true self. To achieve that, we have to remove the veil of ignorance and make our vision crystal clear so that we can see the true self within us. After such realization, the reins of our life get shifted from our limited ego or false self to the unlimited or true self. Consequently, all problems that are caused by our limited self get resolved forever. It is not that the problems cease to exist, but we are able to handle them with poise and efficiency. Nothing else works on a permanent basis like the knowledge of the true self does. The realized souls, yogis and liberated masters from all over the world have been saying this for many ages. They also assert the important role played by meditation in this venture. One wonders whether what they say is really true. Is meditation really a panacea for all our problems? Meditation provides a broader outlook. If a realized master says that self-knowledge is a panacea for all human problems, it must be true, because he is among the rarest of the rare ones who speaks what he knows through his personal experience. If he says something, it is not merely a statement of his belief, but his personal experience that he shares with us. Furthermore, he knows for sure that anybody can live a problem-free life like his if one undertakes a consistent and serious practice of yoga. A problem-free life doesn't mean a complete absence of all problems. Problems do come and go as long as we are alive, regardless of whether we practice meditation or not. But there is a difference in the manner in which most people face, understand and relate to a given problem and the way a serious student of meditation does. Basically, the difference is in their attitude and approach towards life. Most people get anxious about their trivial problems, because they do not understand how to know their problems well. But a true yogi knows how to know a problem and therefore remains unperturbed, even under the most trying conditions of life, facing complicated problems with ease and efficiency. He stays unruffled under all circumstances, because he knows how to take a holistic perspective on life. He therefore handles his problems with great ease, confidence, authority and conviction. Meditation is certainly a panacea for such yogis. It is their first-hand experience and application of meditation in daily living that works wonders. They live what they preach and preach what they live. If we carefully study the biographies of realized masters, we learn that many began life in much the same way as everyone else, but managed to rise to the highest peak of human experience through determination, dedication, hard work and perseverance. Regular practice of meditation made all the difference, and gradually they evolved into better human beings. Consequently, they could look at themselves, their problems and the world around them in a much more profound and healthy manner. Developing such a comprehensive and all-inclusive outlook towards life is in fact the very reason why we should learn meditation. After having resolved their personal problems for good, the realized souls such as Buddha or Christ or Muhammad or Mahavir or other prophets develop natural empathy for the whole world. It is not a fake empathy that can be enacted through effort, but a true empathy that comes spontaneously as a natural consequence of self-knowledge. It grows further into a genuine urge to share what they know and understand about peaceful and happy living with others who are still suffering. This care and concern for others is not restricted to those they are close to, but incorporates the whole of existence. How problems come into being. It is very interesting to see how problems emerge in the first place. When do we say that a particular problem is solved? What do we mean exactly by a problem? The number of problems we face largely depends on how we relate to our environment and ourselves. We face fewer problems if we take a realistic view of life, and more if it is unrealistic. In fact, an unrealistic approach towards life is the root cause of all our individual problems and the problems we create for others. For example, most of us have average looks. We might improve them slightly by making use of cosmetics, but not much more than that. So why worry about something that is such a widespread problem? Why not accept it and live with it? Why not pay more attention to improving our inner beauty and well-being? It is much wiser to do that, isn't it? Similarly, if an average student aspires to achieve a Stanford or Cambridge doctorate, he is probably asking too much from himself. More than likely, his ambition will not be fulfilled. Severe frustration, followed by an inevitable failure, is probably in store for him. But if he takes a realistic view of his abilities and plans his career accordingly, the chances of success would certainly be brighter. Why not do something one enjoys and is capable of doing? It is much better to pursue an interesting option in life and derive happiness and satisfaction from it. We all have an inbuilt tendency to give personal reactions to pleasant and unpleasant experiences in our life. This is often responsible for our problems. We all know that life can never be smooth sailing. Sometimes it brings pleasure and sometimes suffering. Most of us like to hold on to pleasures and run away from suffering. It is a natural human tendency to do that, but nevertheless it is one of the key causes of our problems. We seldom have any dilemma when going through a pleasant experience. Similarly, there is hardly any difficulty in deciding to avoid unpleasant experiences. Problems do not exist if we are mentally prepared to face an unpleasant situation squarely, whenever it comes. But problems come in plenty if we do not get pleasure according to our expectations. Problems also come if we have to confront an unpleasant situation unexpectedly. Reactions breed problems. We do not normally have too many problems while going through pleasant experiences, but they start appearing if we begin to have personal reactions to the absence of such experiences. The moment we begin to hold on to a pleasant experience for an extended period of time, or expect to have the same experience over and over again, the problems start emerging. Thus, our problems depend more on how we respond to pleasures than the actual pleasures themselves. After experiencing pleasures repeatedly, we develop a craving for them. Later, if the same pleasures are denied us, we start facing problems. The story of a beggar is quite apt in this regard. A pious lady from one town used to regularly give some food to a beggar. Every time he came to her house for the alms, she would give him ample food. After a few days, she started taking him into account when cooking for her family. This practice continued for few weeks. Now the beggar didn't have to run around in search of food. Every day he would go to the same house and get a sufficient quantity of freshly prepared food to satisfy his appetite. Gradually, the beggar got used to it. He felt that everything was now assured to him. He thought that now he was settled in his profession. It started showing on his face. He put on some weight too. After a few weeks, he completely forgot that he was a beggar and began to feel that it was his right to get food from that house. One day, after receiving his daily quota of alms, he told the housewife, "I would like to have a large chocolate cake for tomorrow." She asked him, "Why? What's the matter? Why do you want a cake?" She was shocked when she heard him say, "I am tired of the routine food. I want a change. Tomorrow is my birthday and I am expecting some fellow beggars to come round and celebrate it." We may laugh at this beggar. But aren't we all sailing in the same boat? Initially, the beggar was asking for some food for his survival, but later on he began to take it for granted. Are we not doing the same thing when we keep pursuing pleasures? Don't we get used to pleasures and look forward to having them more and more? Don't we constantly cling to them? Get attached to them? Meditation helps us understand our environment and ourselves. Broadly speaking, meditation is a panacea for all our problems. With proper practice of yoga and meditation, we first learn how to establish good rapport with ourselves and then with our environment. By doing so, we develop a realistic and practical perspective of life. Now we don't have to worry about our problems. We are capable of handling them well whenever they appear. When can we really say that a particular problem is solved? Firstly, when it is actually solved. Secondly, when we realize that it cannot be solved. And thirdly, when we transcend or go beyond that problem. Solvable problems. Unemployment can be a major problem for young people. Meditation can help solve this. Meditation essentially involves self-observation and self-study. With regular practice of meditation, a young person will better understand his likes and dislikes, capabilities and weakness. Moreover, meditation will help him grow in self-awareness, which would be useful in making good choices from the career options that are available to him. He may have to review earlier career decisions in the light of this self-study and decide what he really wants to do, whether he may want to run a business himself or go for a job. If he settles on doing a job, he will have to think about the relevant issues like which job, where, whether such jobs are readily available or not, at what remuneration, and so on. After an evaluation of the situation and proper planning, he will have to search for a suitable job at a suitable place where he would like to do it. If he is practicing meditation regularly, he will be able to do this exercise better and make the right choice about the job too. After the initial exercise is over, he will need to send applications to several places to have a wider choice of jobs to choose from. It will then be easier for him to reach the final decision. Then he will have to prepare for interviews and face them confidently. The boundless energy and inner strength that are byproducts of meditation will be of great help to him in this connection. If for some reason he doesn't get the job of his choice, he mustn't lose heart or stop his efforts. He must learn from experience and keep searching for another job until he finds one. A meditative mind will help him take success and failure in his stride without losing confidence. We need an ego-free, pliable mind to learn from our mistakes and failures. In such endeavors, patience is always a great virtue. Meditation instills these qualities in us. After the first exercise of considering what he wants, he may decide not to go for a job but to start a business. He needs to give careful thought to this decision. Once the decision is reached, he must quietly make well-directed and persistent efforts to reach the goal. Single-mindedness of purpose is yet another quality of a meditative mind. Problems beyond solution. There are some extremely difficult problems that defy all solutions in spite of our sincere and persistent efforts to solve them. In such situations, it is much better to willingly accept the problem as it is and learn to live with it. For a meditative mind, which is married to reality, acceptance of the inevitable is very easy. Cancer is one such problem. It is not only a problem for the patient who suffers from it, but also for his family. It is true that there is a lot of research going on in the world to fight this evil, but as of today, the scientists haven't been able to find a cure for this highly menacing human affliction. It can often be better for a cancer patient to quietly accept the situation and learn to live with it as best one can. I do not say this in a negative sense, I am only offering a very practical solution to the problem. This can reduce associated difficulties like running around in search of alternative remedies and the frustrations that follow an indiscriminate use of such treatments. I know that this is easier said than done. I also know that giving advice to others is very easy, but when it comes to doing it yourself it can be difficult to put such advice into practice. But with an unsolvable problem, the best we can do is to reduce its intensity. We have to follow a wise saying, while solving a problem, start doing what you can, accept it without any resistance if you can't, and have the wisdom to know the difference between what you can and what you can't do. We fear death because the mind likes to live in a state of continuum, and death is an irrevocable break in this perpetuity. Our dread of death is because of our lack of familiarity with it. Meditation helps us come face to face with nothingness. It is this nothingness that makes us anxious about death. Regular experience of nothingness through meditation prepares us for death. We may therefore say that problems beyond solution can't be solved, but their intensity can certainly be reduced by accepting them wholeheartedly as they are. It goes without saying that although we as individuals may need to accept cancer as an unsolvable problem, at a collective level, in the interest and welfare of humanity as a whole, research workers and research scientists should not consider any human problem like cancer to be unsolvable. Otherwise, all the valuable research they are doing in the field would come to an end. Don't turn simple problems into complex ones. I often come across promising young people who tend to take one or two failures to heart and begin to feel frustration and dejection. Despite their persistent efforts, they are not able to break out of their despondency. Most of them blame unfavorable circumstances or unfair practices adopted by the authorities or some other factors. They seek false solace in false excuses. Some of them make wild generalizations and begin to question their abilities. The most harmful generalization of all is to think that you are good for nothing because you have failed in one or two exams. This may actually convert a solvable problem into an unsolvable one, because they don't know how to assess it or arrive at a proper conclusion. Meditation helps us create an unshakable faith in our abilities. It gives us patience to wait until the right opportunity comes along. Most importantly, it strengthens our realistic self-confidence. I can say this with conviction, because I know that it works. I have been counseling young people to help them solve their problems for the past 35 years or so. There are quite a few meditators who have similar problems. Some of them don't do well in meditation in spite of their sincere efforts. They lose heart after a few failures because they think that they are not getting anywhere. They also make wild generalizations about their capacity to learn and practice meditation. They usually blame everybody else except themselves for their failures. One important reason behind writing this book is to offer some convincing solutions to such problems.